Dear Heavenly Father,
Lieber himmlischer Vater,
Lord, we thank you for a new week,
ja, wir danken dir für eine neue Woche.
and we want to pray this day that you will come and bless us.
Wir möchten bitten, dass du uns heute kommst und zu uns kommst und uns segnest.
I want to ask you that you'd help us to understand these deep things in your word,
Und ich bitte, dass du uns hilfst, diese tiefen Dinge aus deinem Wort zu verstehen.
and that you would help us to have hearts that would be open to receive your understanding,
Dass du uns hilfst, dass wir offene Herzen haben, dein Verständnis zu erhalten.
and please remove any preconceived ideas from us,
Und bitte beseitige auch jegliche vorgefasste Meinung, die wir haben,
that we might see things according to your will.
dass wir die Dinge so sehen können, wie sie nach deinem Willen sind.
And we ask this in the name of Jesus.
Und wir bitten das im Namen Jesu.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, this morning I just want to consolidate some thoughts that we've been going over the last few days.
Also heute Morgen möchte ich jetzt ein paar Gedanken sozusagen zum Abschluss bringen oder verfestigen, die wir die letzten Tage so angeschaut haben.
So, we understand this this point that we make, with prophecy and principle, right?
Ich denke, wir verstehen ja diesen Punkt, den wir immer wieder machen, nämlich Prophetie oder Prinzip.
And what we mean by that is, when you go to God's word, the prophecies all have a perfect fulfillment, a place where they should belong in the prophetic narrative.
Was wir damit meinen, ist ja, dass alle Prophetien einen perfekten Platz haben, da wo sie wirklich auch in der prophetischen Erzählung im wahrsten Sinne sich erfüllen werden.
But in other places on the prophetic narrative, you can take the same principles and apply it there.
Aber an anderen Stellen der prophetischen Erzählung kann man dann dieselben Prinzipien dieser Geschichte nehmen und sie auch dann dort anwenden.
Because God's dealing with man is ever the same, he doesn't change.
Weil Gottes Handeln mit den Menschen ist immer dasselbe, er verändert sich ja nicht.
So we have to determine, and we have to determine when we're reading something, where does it fit? Where did God intend that to go on our line?
Also wir müssen also herausfinden und entscheiden, wo das hinpasst, wo kommt das auf die Linie hin.
So this morning what I want to do is I want to just quickly jump from chapter to chapter in the book of Daniel, and we're going to place them on our line, right?
Deswegen heute Morgen wollen wir einfach von Kapitel zu Kapitel aus Daniel gehen und diese Sachen dann auf die Linie nochmal setzen.
Okay, so let's begin. Chapter 1. Where would we put chapter 1?
Lass uns in Kapitel 1 anfangen. Wo würden wir Kapitel 1 jetzt hinsetzen?
In the beginning of the Sunday.
Am Anfang des Sonntagsgesetzes.
Okay, so now what I've done is yesterday when we were going through these things, I was showing you that this fractal here of the Sunday law to the final review.
Also gestern, als wir durch diese Dinge hindurchgegangen sind, habe ich euch gezeigt, dass dieses Fraktal hier vom Sonntagsgesetz bis zur finalen Untersuchung
is like a type of the whole scenario from the Sunday law until the second coming of Christ.
Das ist wie ein Typus für das komplette Szenario, nämlich vom Sonntagsgesetz bis zum buchstäblichen Kommen Christi.
Okay, so and we see that here, and just parallel the little time of peace and the time of trouble.
Und das können wir hier sehen, wenn ich hier einfach die kleine Zeit des Friedens hier parallel gesetzt habe und dann diese Zeit der Trübsal.
Okay, and anyway, we will see that as we go through. That's I just want you to.
Aber das werden wir noch genauer sehen und verstehen, wenn wir weiter fortsetzen.
Okay, so right, so let's deal with this. So we place Daniel chapter 1 in the time of the Sunday law, so from the Sunday law to the final review.
Und Daniel Kapitel 1 setzen wir also in das Sonntagsgesetz, hier vom Sonntagsgesetz bis zur finalen Untersuchung.
Okay, in Daniel chapter 1, why would we place it in there? What characteristics do we have in there?
Und warum würden wir das in Daniel 1 hier hinsetzen? Welche Merkmale haben wir dort, die das bestätigen? Captivity.
Yes, but we all know that they applied to Sunday law. That's not the point. But in Daniel 1, there is a specific symbol that allows us to place it in the time period from the Sunday law to the final review. And I'm asking, so what is it?
Also in Daniel 1 gibt es bestimmte Symbole oder ein bestimmtes Symbol, was uns erlaubt, das also jetzt vom Sonntagsgesetz bis zur finalen Untersuchung zu platzieren. Und was ist das?
Are you referring the first and the last verse, meaning the beginning of the captivity at the end?
Well, there's that also, but I was speaking about the 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Also das ist einmal ja die Gefangenschaft, erster und letzter Vers, aber ich meinte in erster Linie diese 3 Jahre, die dort erwähnt werden.
Why would I say the 3 years?
Warum würde ich mich auf die 3 Jahre beziehen?
This is the time between the two temple cleansings.
Okay, the 2 temple cleansings.
Weil das die Zeit zwischen den 2 Tempelreinigungen war.
So from temple cleansing to temple cleansing, you've got these 3 years, right?
Also von Tempelreinigung zu Tempelreinigung haben wir diese 3 Jahre.
Okay, and this is the work that Christ wants to do to cleanse the temple, right? And also Satan is doing a counterfeit work to try and cause us to fall, right?
Das ist das Werk, das Christus tut, um den Tempel zu reinigen, aber Satan tut ein gegenteiliges Werk, um uns letztendlich zu Fall zu bringen.
Okay, so we can clearly take that chapter and we can place it in the Sunday law crisis.
Also wir können deutlich dieses Kapitel also nehmen und es in die Sonntagsgesetzkrise platzieren.
Okay, the point that I would then ask, can we take it and put it in the second Sunday law?
Deswegen der Punkt, den ich euch fragen möchte, ist, können wir also das nehmen, diese Geschichte, und auch in das zweite Sonntagsgesetz setzen?
Well, definitely, principally, but
Also auf jeden Fall vom Prinzip her.
just go to chapter 1.
Gehen wir zu Daniel 1.
And as Marius rightly said, it begins in the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, right?
Marius schon richtig gesagt hat, es fängt ja hier im 3. Jahr Joachims an, in Vers 1.
And it goes all the way through to the 1st year of Cyrus.
Und im letzten Vers sagt es dann, es geht bis hinab zum 1. Jahr des Kyros.
Okay, so the question I would ask, is there anything in there that would specifically make it in the first Sunday law that you would prevent it from saying that it was the second Sunday law?
Also die Frage, die ich euch stellen würde, ist da jetzt irgendwas in dem Kapitel zu finden, was uns klar zeigt, dass man das ins erste Sonntagsgesetz setzen muss und was uns letztendlich dadurch aufhalten würde, es auch ins zweite Sonntagsgesetz zu setzen.
You know what I mean?
Wisst ihr, was ich meine?
Like for instance, when we go, maybe that's not really. Okay, let's leave that thought with Daniel 1 at the moment, because maybe that's difficult.
It's the first year of Cyrus, and Cyrus continued until the 3rd year, prophetically. It ends with the first year of Cyrus.
Yeah, but what's your point?
And that was my point. Daniel.
Okay, no, that's just something you're saying. I'm saying, what's your point? What you're saying and what's your point are 2 different things.
Well,
What do you mean by that? What's the point you're trying to make?
well, if Cyrus continues until if in Daniel 1, if it's only until the first year of Cyrus, but Cyrus continues until the 3rd year, the Sunday law crisis. I beg your pardon?
This is the 3rd year of Cyrus.
Yes, it is the 3rd year of Cyrus.
First and third is the same.
That's when he's sets them free. That's the 3rd year.
Also das erste Jahr hier ist auch gleichzeitig das 3. Jahr aus Kapitel 10 von Kyros, deswegen ist es
This
derselbe
is
Zeitpunkt.
1st year when he's king, but it's the 3rd year since he came to Babylon.
Das ist das erste Jahr, wo er eigentlich der König ist, aber es ist das 3. Jahr in Kapitel 10, wo er nach Babylon kam.
Anyway, okay, let's do it a different way. Let's go to Daniel chapter 2, right?
Lass uns das ein bisschen anders machen. Lass uns zuerst zu Daniel Kapitel 2 gehen.
So Daniel chapter 2, when he relays it to him, right, he's marking this, right, head of gold, body of silver,
Daniel 2, wo er den Traum deutet, sagt er, es ist Kopf aus Gold,
the
ist der Kopf aus Gold, dann Leib Silber,
brass, right? And then
dann
brings you to the
Bronze.
fourth, right?
das bringt uns hinab zum vierten,
Which is the legs,
was die Beine und die Füße sind.
feet, which is the iron and clay,
Was Eisen und Ton ist.
right? So Daniel 2 can only go there, right?
Daniel 2 kann nur dahin gehen, richtig?
There's nowhere else that you can take Daniel 2 and put it,
Da
right?
gibt es jetzt nicht irgendwo einen anderen Platz, wo wir Daniel 2 hinsetzen können,
Right?
richtig?
Nod or shake, yes. Everybody understand the point that I'm making?
Kann jeder den Punkt nachvollziehen, den ich machen möchte.
Okay, so because it takes you from the time the Sunday law begins all the way to the second coming.
Das nimmt dich ja von dem Moment, wo das Sonntagsgesetz beginnt, bis hinab zur Wiederkunft Christi.
Okay, so and the point is, remember this quote Sister White talks about 1847. She says, "This time of trouble is not the time of trouble when the 7 last plagues are poured out, but the short time before they're poured out."
Denkt an das Zitat aus 1847, wo Ellen White sagt, diese Zeit der Trübsal ist noch nicht die Zeit der Trübsal, wo die 7 letzten Plagen ausgegossen werden, sondern eine kurze Zeit davor, wo Christen noch im Heiligtum ist.
Okay, and the reason why I'm making that point is that it shows you that in this time of trouble, you have Babylon, Medo-Persia, and Greece, right?
Und den Punkt, den ich machen möchte, ist, dass wir sehen können, in dieser Zeit der Trübsal haben wir Babylon, Medo-Persien, Griechen und Griechenland.
And that the fourth is in the second time of trouble.
Und das vierte ist in der zweiten Zeit der Trübsal.
Why is that important?
Warum ist das wichtig?
That's when Christ comes. Before.
No. Okay, look at the bottom fractal. Why is it important?
Wenn wir auf das kleine Fraktal schauen, warum ist das wichtig?
I made this point
Ich habe
yesterday.
den Punkt gestern gemacht.
There's always 2 times of trouble, right?
Weil es immer 2 Zeiten der Trübsal gibt.
Yeah, so in the Sunday law, there's 2 times of trouble.
Im Sonntagsgesetz gibt es 2 Zeiten der Trübsal.
And where do the first 3 go and the last one goes?
Wo gehen die ersten 3 hinein und wo geht das letzte hinein?
Yes, that's the point I'm meaning, right? So when you look at that, this already teaching us that the first time of trouble, you have the first 3, and then the second time of trouble, you have the last one, right?
Das lehrt uns also letztendlich, dass wir nur in der ersten Zeit der Trübsal die ersten 3 Reiche haben und in der letzten Zeit der Trübsal das letzte Reich. Das vierte.
Right?
Richtig?
Okay, you might think that that's a small point, but if you don't understand that, you know,
I understood that, but when you said, why is that important, it's like I was thinking of something else, but when you explained it, it's like, I already know that.
okay, so, okay, now I'll ask you why I'm saying that, because in,
Also vielleicht denkt ihr, dass das ein kleiner Punkt ist, aber das ist wichtig zu verstehen.
okay,
Ich erkläre jetzt auch, warum ich diese Frage gestellt habe.
Genesis 41, right?
1. Mose 41.
How many visions does Pharaoh have?
Wie viele Visionen hat Pharao?
2, right?
2.
Right, so Pharaoh in Genesis 41 is a parallel to Nebuchadnezzar, right?
Pharao in 1. Mose 41 ist eine Parallele zu Nebukadnezar, richtig?
So when you come to Daniel, how many dreams does Nebuchadnezzar
Und
have?
in Daniel, wie viele Träume hat Nebukadnezar?
2,
Auch
right?
2.
So in the book of Daniel, right? So, okay. I'll put book there so we're not mixing it up with the person Daniel, right?
Ich schreibe hier Buch Daniel hin, damit wir nicht irgendwie das mit der Person Daniels verwechseln.
Times 2. And what's the 2 dreams that he has?
Und welche 2 Träume hat er?
Statue in the tree.
Daniel 2 and Daniel 4,
Daniel
right?
2 und Daniel 4.
Okay, so now, so it's all one dream, right?
Also alles ein Traum,
Yes?
richtig?
Okay. But so if we take, there's Daniel 2,
Da oben ist Daniel 2 abgebildet,
But yet Daniel 4 is only in the Sunday law.
aber Daniel 4 ist nur im Sonntagsgesetz.
Right?
Richtig?
Now you see why that's important to understand that. Right?
Jetzt ist wichtig, warum wir das verstehen müssen.
Because somebody challenges you, says, yeah, you're saying they're the same dream, but that one up there goes all the way to Christ and this one's only in the Sunday law. That's not the same.
Deswegen jemand kann dich herausfordern und sagen, ja, guck mal hier, der Traum aus Daniel 2, der geht die komplette Wegstrecke hindurch bis zum zweiten Kommen. Aber der zweite Traum, der ist nur in dem Sonntagsgesetz, das ist doch nicht dasselbe.
Okay? But Sister White, she parallels Daniel 2 and Daniel 4, right?
Ellen White, sie vergleicht ja Daniel 2 und Daniel 4.
And both Pharaoh and Nebuchadnezzar are this great tree, right?
Sowohl Pharao als auch Nebukadnezar sind ja der große Baum.
Okay, but okay, so Daniel 4. Okay, no, Daniel 7. How do we link that together again? Doesn't matter. I'll come to that point in a moment. So. Okay, go to Daniel chapter 3.
Gehen wir jetzt zu Daniel Kapitel 3.
I'm sorry, I just got a whole bunch of thoughts in my head and I'm in no particular order.
Also ich habe momentan sehr viele verschiedene Gedanken in meinem Kopf und ich habe da noch keine bestimmte Ordnung reingebracht.
So, in Daniel chapter 3, where would we put that?
Daniel 3, wo würden wir das hinsetzen?
Okay, at the Sunday law, yes, but
Sonntagsgesetz, ja.
in Daniel chapter 3, it's about this golden image, right?
Und Daniel 3 handelt ja von diesem goldenen Standbild.
So, again, the question is it prophecy or principle?
Und jetzt müssen wir uns wieder die Frage stellen, ist es Prophetie oder nur Prinzip?
Can we take Daniel 3 and can we apply it here and then again here? That's the
Können wir
question.
Daniel 3 nehmen und einmal hier anwenden und dann auch wieder hier anwenden? Das ist die Frage.
So, is there anything in there that will prevent us from doing that?
Ist da irgendwas da drin, was uns abhalten würde, das irgendwo jeweils zu platzieren?
Because I don't know about you, but that's all the questions that I have because we have to be able to place these things.
Ich weiß nicht, wie es mit euch ist, aber das ist die Frage, die ich habe. Wir müssen das richtig platzieren. I mean, maybe depending on who Nebuchadnezzar is. I mean, if you can apply it, that Nebuchadnezzar only goes to here. Then you can
This is the questions that I would have. It depends on who Nebuchadnezzar is, right?
Also es hängt davon ab, wer Nebukadnezar ist, weil wenn Nebukadnezar nur bis hierhin geht, dann kann man nur das Prinzip im zweiten Sonntagsgesetz verwenden.
Because Daniel says, thou art this head of gold, right?
Weil Daniel sagt ja, du bist dieser Kopf aus Gold.
Okay. And when you get to here, it's now somebody different, right? It's Belshazzar.
Und wenn du ja hier zum zweiten Sonntagsgesetz kommst, dann ist das ja jemand anderes, das ist Belshazzar.
So Daniel 3 is specifically talking about Nebuchadnezzar setting up a golden image, right?
Daniel 3 spricht ja ganz besonders über Nebukadnezar, der das goldene Bild aufrichtet.
So when you get to this Sunday law, can you take Daniel chapter 3 and put it in there?
Deswegen, wenn du jetzt zu diesem Sonntagsgesetz kommst, kannst du Daniel 3 nehmen und es in das zweite Sonntagsgesetz aufsetzen.
Right, so it would just be that you were going through the same principles, but you can't take the actual prophecy.
Deswegen, du könntest dann nur dieselben Prinzipien nehmen und da anwenden, aber nicht die eigentliche Prophetie dahinsetzen.
Okay, these are all the questions that I've got, especially after when you think about all these points, you've got to think, right, what goes where? And yeah, we have to place them correctly, right?
Deswegen, das sind all die Gedanken, die ich habe und was kommt wohin und wir müssen die Sachen richtig platzieren.
Okay, so Daniel 3, let's just put it here for now, right?
Lass uns Daniel 3 jetzt erstmal hierhin platzieren.
Okay, and so Daniel 4 then.
Was ist dann mit Daniel 4?
The first Sunday law, right?
Daniel 4 wäre dann ja auch nur das erste Sonntagsgesetz.
Now just when you go to Daniel 4, just think about the theme there. Why would it only go at the first Sunday law?
Also Daniel 4, wenn wir an das Thema denken, warum kann man das nur ans erste Sonntagsgesetz platzieren?
Well, the first point that I would make is it's also referring to Nebuchadnezzar.
Den
Right?
ersten Punkt, den ich auch machen würde, ist, es bezieht sich ja auch auf Nebukadnezar.
But there's another point in there that specifically
Aber da gibt es einen weiteren Punkt, der
can only be the first Sunday law, right?
klar macht, dass es nur auf das erste Sonntagsgesetz sich beziehen kann.
Okay, the 7 years,
Die 7
right?
Jahre.
Why can't it be this Sunday law?
Warum kann es nicht dieses Sonntagsgesetz sein?
Yeah, because that's the close of human probation, right?
Da ist das Ende der Gnadenzeit für alle Menschen, da gibt es keine Gnade mehr danach.
So there's no 7 years where there's going to be dew falling on somebody to try and save them, right?
Weil es danach keine 7 Jahre mehr gibt, wo irgendwie noch Tau auf jemanden fallen kann, um sie noch zu retten.
Okay, so Daniel chapter 4 has to be also there, right?
Deswegen Daniel 4 muss folglich auch hier sein, im ersten Sonntagsgesetz.
But
Aber
when you go to, and you can look at this yourself, when you go to the chapter called An Unseen Watcher in Prophets and Kings,
wenn ihr mal selbst zu dem Kapitel der unsichtbare Wächter in Propheten und Könige gehen würdet,
in fact, just let's go there and I'll show you this point.
und lasst uns auch vielleicht jetzt da hingehen, dann möchte ich euch den Punkt zeigen.
Prophets and Kings, it's called An Unseen Watcher, the chapter.
Propheten und Könige, das ist der unsichtbare Wächter.
I noticed this point yesterday when I was reading it.
Mir ist der Punkt gestern aufgefallen, als ich ihn gelesen habe.
Okay, 1 second. Chapter 43, it's page 522. But yes, but I'll find the bit that I'm on about. I should see it in 1 second. Got to go down and okay. It's 533.1. I can even post it. It's so small. It's just one line.
Nur noch ein Satz. Ich werde das jetzt posten.
Where are we? Live stream. Just quickly translate it.
Jetzt noch schnell übersetzen.
Okay, I've put it in there. Now it says, to the last ruler of Babylon. Who's the last ruler of Babylon?
Wer war der letzte Herrscher Babylons?
Belshazzar, right?
Belsatzer.
So to the last ruler of Babylon, as in type to its first, right? And that was Nebuchadnezzar, right?
Und der erste war ja Nebukadnezar.
So to the last ruler of Babylon, as in type to its first, had come the sentence of the divine watcher. O king, to thee it is spoken, the kingdom is departed from thee. Daniel 4:31, right? So what's she doing here?
Was macht sie hier?
No.
4 and 5.
The sentence pronounced when Nebuchadnezzar was the type that will come on them.
No, I don't know that that's what it's saying, but I agree with you that they're certainly parallels. But the point I'm making is, right? Just go to Daniel 4 and verse 31.
Hier zu Daniel 4 und das ist dann im deutschen Vers 28.
And you'll see the point that I'm making.
Werdet ihr sehen, den Punkt, den ich machen möchte.
It says, while the word was in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven saying, O King Nebuchadnezzar, to thee it is spoken, the kingdom is departed from thee. But who's it referring to in this quote?
Also auf wen nimmt das hier Bezug?
To Belshazzar.
Belshazzar.
It's not written Belshazzar here, it's written Nebuchadnezzar,
Also
right?
es steht ja nicht Belshazzar hier, sondern Nebukadnezar.
Okay, so can't be perfectly fulfilled. This prophecy can't be applying to Belshazzar. So what's she doing?
Deswegen die Prophetie kann ja sich nicht auf Belshazzar beziehen, aber was tut sie?
The principle.
She's taking the principle,
Sie
right?
nimmt das Prinzip.
So the point is, it's the exact same principle is happening to Belshazzar at this point as what happened to Nebuchadnezzar.
Deswegen
Right?
es ist genau dasselbe Prinzip, was dem Belshazzar widerfährt, was auch Nebukadnezar widerfuhr.
Because just look at verse 32.
Dann lass uns einfach nur Vers 29 anschauen.
And they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. They shall make thee to eat grass as oxen, and 7 times shall pass over thee, until thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. Right? So there's not 7 times passing over Belshazzar at this point.
Es
Right?
gibt keine 7 Zeiten, die irgendwie über Belshazzar kommen, um ihn noch zu retten zu diesem Zeitpunkt.
So you can't go and say, well, Sister White's taking Daniel chapter 4 and she's applying it to Belshazzar, therefore 7 times must pass over. That's silly,
Wir
right?
können zum Beispiel nicht sagen, ja, guck mal hier, in White wendet Daniel 4 auf Belshazzar an, deswegen kommen auch 7 Zeiten über Belshazzar.
So this is what I mean by taking a principle of something that's happened there and just applying it because the same principle is happening, right?
Principle of Judgment.
The principle of the judgment, yes.
Also man nimmt einfach nur das Prinzip, dass dort ein Gericht stattfand und wendet das dann letztendlich auch auf Belshazzar an.
Okay, we see this same point. If we just go to Luke 13, we spoke about this the last couple of days.
Dasselbe sehen wir auch in Lukas 13, das haben wir auch in den letzten Tagen immer wieder mal erwähnt gehabt. Lukas 13.
Verse 6.
Lukas 13, Vers 6.
He spake also this parable. A certain man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he came and sought fruit thereon, and found none. Then said he to the dresser of this vineyard, Behold, these 3 years I come seeking fruit on this fig tree, and find none, cut it down. So, what sort of period of time have we got to produce fruit?
Vers 7. Wie viel Zeit ist uns gegeben, Frucht zu tragen?
3 years, right?
3 Jahre.
Sunday law crisis, right?
Sonntagsgesetzkrise.
Because the Sunday law crisis is the 2 tests of Job, right?
Die Sonntagsgesetzkrise sind diese 2 Tests des Hiobs.
Okay, so you've got to go through that test and you've got to have more fruit than you had when you began the test, right?
Du musst durch diesen Test gehen und du musst dann mehr Frucht nachher haben, als du am Anfang hattest.
Okay. And he answered and said unto him, Lord, let it alone this year also till I shall dig about and dung in. And if it bear fruit, well, and if not, then after that thou shalt cut it down, right? So the point is that
Das ist Vers 9.
the final review marks the point where the tree gets cut down,
Der
right?
Punkt, den ich machen möchte, ist, dass die finale Untersuchung ist der Punkt, wo der Baum niedergehauen wird.
So you got a closed door here for the church. You got a closed door here for the world,
Wir haben eine geschlossene Tür hier für die Gemeinde und hier für die Welt.
right? And then when Christ comes here, it's this, when he decimates the whole earth, all the wicked will get decimated.
Und
right?
wenn Jesus dann buchstäblich da wiederkommt, dann wird die gesamte Welt dezimiert werden. Die ganzen Gottlosen werden umkommen.
But it's like this. This is the perfect fulfillment of that stone smashing the whole earth, right?
Aber das ist ja dann die perfekte Erfüllung, wo der Stein kommt und die ganze Erde zerschlägt.
But the principle of it is fulfilled here and here,
Aber das
right?
Prinzip davon ist auch schon hier erfüllt und auch hier erfüllt.
Right?
Richtig?
Okay. Okay, that's the point that I wanted us to see from that, or that's the principle that I want to see from that point.
Das ist das Prinzip, was ich aus diesem Punkt ersichtlich machen möchte.
So go back to Daniel, right?
Zurück zu Daniel.
Daniel chapter 5.
Das war zu Daniel Kapitel 5.
It's speaking now about Belshazzar, right?
Daniel 5 spricht jetzt über Belsatzer.
Okay, so Belshazzar represents somebody who knew all about Nebuchadnezzar and failed to learn the lessons from it,
Also
right?
Belsatzer stellt jemand dar, der alles über Nebukadnezar wusste, aber die Lektionen daraus nicht gelernt hat.
Right? So we're definitely going to take Belshazzar and put him somewhere, right?
Deswegen können wir jetzt Belsatzer nehmen und ihn auf jeden Fall irgendwo hinsetzen, richtig?
And where would we put him?
Und wo setzen wir ihn hin?
At the second Sunday law,
Das
right?
zweite Sonntagsgesetz.
Right?
Richtig?
Nobody would contest that point.
Keiner würde das irgendwie anfechten, oder?
Okay. Okay, Daniel chapter 6.
Was mit Daniel 6? Nehmen wir zu Daniel 6.
Okay, so there was a bit of some thoughts about this yesterday, right?
Wir haben ein paar Gedankenaustausche darüber am gestrigen Tag.
So we know it's about the Sunday law,
Wir
right?
wissen, dass es über das Sonntagsgesetz geht.
But what's the difference between the king in Daniel 6 and the king in Daniel 5?
Was ist der Unterschied zwischen dem König in Daniel 5 und 6?
Good and bad.
Yes, I mean,
Also gut und schlecht, ja.
okay,
Wie
you can
Persia und
clearly
Perser.
see that Darius represents somebody that has a sympathy or an empathy towards God's people, right?
Man kann klar sehen, dass also Darius jemand ist, der irgendwie Sympathien hat mit Gottes Volk.
Okay, arguments. Where would we put it and why?
Wo würden wir das hinsetzen und warum?
And where would we not put it and why not?
Und wo würden wir es nicht hinsetzen und warum nicht?
Okay, first of all, in Daniel chapter 6, where does it begin?
Zunächst einmal, wo fängt Daniel Kapitel 6 an?
The point where there needs to promote them.
Okay, yes, but on the line, prophetically speaking, where is it beginning?
Also prophetisch gesehen auf unserer Linie, wo würde das anfangen? Also,
What is Daniel receiving right there?
würde meinte, dass, also wo Darius gedenkt, ihn über alles zu setzen. Also wo, was bekommt Daniel?
Well, in verse 3, what's he been set over?
In Vers 3, wo ist er rübergesetzt?
The whole realm, right?
Yes.
So, what is that speaking about prophetically?
Ganze Reich.
The land.
I mean, it says it's
And
thought to,
to set.
it's a future point.
We're not going back to this argument
No,
again.
but
That's just
last time we solved it and therefore came to the conclusion that he must begin here and then he's set over the whole realm here.
Yes. He's not been set over the whole realm. No.
So he gets the earnest here and he gets the fulfillment right there at the end.
okay. We're not arguing with prophetic points. The point is, when you get here, it's the little time piece. You're given the land. He is promoted there. He's first in the kingdom. So you can't turn around and use that as an argument, right? Prophetically, I get the point. You've not received. You don't really get it until you get it here, right? But is that saying you don't get it there? No, that's a silly argument.
No,
right?
but it would be the same principle, right? Because in the little fractal you have an earnest here and you get the full here. So you have,
No, that's different.
so in this sense this would be the civil Sunday law and that would be the Sunday law.
Look, I'm sorry. I'm not going to get into this argument. Just because it's got a word in there doesn't mean that he's not received it right there. He is set over the whole kingdom at that point. And
Every word has its proper bearing.
Yes, every word is its proper bearing, but we are not to determine what that word means by in our own sense. The Bible has to interpret itself.
No, if you, Miller says, if you read a word and it makes sense as it is, right, then don't try to make it something else.
It.
The word.
It. There's a word, right? What does it mean? Right? It has to be determined by the... No, wait, I'm going to answer your question, right? It has to be the word, the single word has to be determined by the whole sentence, right?
Yes.
So-
Exactly.
Okay, so the whole sentence has to be determined by the Bible.
Yeah,
So-
it says here that it tells you where he is. It says, please pay Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes. Right?
Yes.
Which
Daniel was the first.
no. which should be over the whole kingdom and over these three present, of whom Daniel was the first.
Yes.
Right?
So he's not said in Daniel's first over the whole kingdom right
No,
there.
about the 120.
No, I'm just listening. Look, let's not go into
No,
other
he
arguments.
didn't.
No, he didn't.
No,
Daniel's not said first over the kingdom there.
no, not at
No,
all.
that's complete nonsense. Let's go to the spirit prophecy. Right? We're making such silly arguments here.
Also wir gehen jetzt zum Geist der Weissagung, um diese ersten 3 Verse zu klären.
Just go to the next paragraph, the lion's den.
Chapter,
The next chapter.
what page?
It begins in Promising Kings 5:39.
4. Könige 539 gehen jetzt. What paragraphs do we read?
First, I guess the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, first 6 paragraphs. There's just small paragraphs.
Wir lesen für die ersten 6 Absätze, werden jetzt noch gepostet.
Okay, so
Very first paragraph, so
it doesn't matter. We'll just read what it says. You've done it once. Okay, so go to the first. Just go to the first paragraph. It says, when Darius the Median took the throne formerly occupied by the Babylonian rulers, he at once proceeded to reorganize the government. He set over the kingdom 120 princes, and over these 3 presidents. So he reorganized his government, he put 120 princes, and over these 120 princes he puts 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first. So Daniel's first in the kingdom, right?
Also Daniel war hier der erste des Königsreiches, er wurde über die 120 Prinzen gesetzt.
Just wait a minute. That the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king thought to set him over the whole realm. The honours bestowed upon Daniel excited the jealousy of the leading men of the kingdom, and they sought for occasion of complaint against him, but they could find none, for as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. Right? So Daniel is first over the kingdom, right? And they are got.
Of the 3. You need to stick to what it says. He's first of the 3.
Yes. So if he's first of the 3 and he's over the whole 120, he's first over the whole kingdom.
Yes.
Also er ist erster der 3 und erster über die 120, dann ist über das ganze
When he had
Königreich
this
sein.
petition, Darius thought him to put
Yes,
him
that's-
over the whole realm.
That's when he's doing it right there. He thinks, I'm going to put him over the whole kingdom. And what does it do? It causes jealousy from everybody else.
Also Darius möchte ihn dann über das ganze Reich setzen, und wenn das letztendlich er das tut, dann sorgt das für Eifersucht unter den anderen.
Yeah, so that's why he does it.
He wants
It's
to do it.
There's an excellent spirit in him. No, he thinks to do, and he does it right there. It's not a future point where he's going to do it.
No, that's exactly, I think, what it says.
No, it's not saying that.
Because at the Silver Sunday, right? You are
But-
not.
I'm not arguing about this point, right? It's just really silly. He's
Also es
first over the kingdom.
geht letztendlich darum, ob er halt gedenkt, das zu tun, also an einem zukünftigen Zeitpunkt das zu tun, oder ob das bedeutet, dass er es schon dann gemacht hat, als er noch gedenkt, das zu tun.
Okay, so the point is that Daniel is the first, right? If you're the first, you're the top of the kingdom, right? It's
Also,
easy to see that.
Daniel der Erste ist, dann bist du der Erste des Königreichs, das ist einfach zu sehen.
Okay, and it also says there was an excellent spirit in it, right?
Und sagt auch hier, dass ein vortrefflicher Geist in ihm war, in Vers 3.
So the question I was asked right, where would you put him on the line prophetically and why?
Frage, die mir gestellt worden ist, wo würde ich das jetzt prophetisch hinsetzen und warum?
Final review.
Right, at the final, it's the fulfillment of the promise, right?
Finale Untersuchung, weil es die Erfüllung der Verheißung ist.
It says Darius took the kingdom. So as soon as he takes it, he reorganizes and restructures everything, right?
Darius übernimmt das Königreich und sobald er es übernommen hat, dann reorganisiert er alles, was dort das Königreich betrifft.
Okay, so how I would understand that, Genesis 15, this is a fulfillment. Just go to Genesis 15.
Wenn ich das verstehe, ist es die Erfüllung von 1. Mose 15. Dorthin.
Verse 13. It says, And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs,
Vers 13.
and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward they shall come out with great substance. Right? So when they came out of Egypt, what was it marking prophetically?
Also als sie aus Ägypten kamen, was hat das prophetisch markiert?
It was the birth, right?
So die Geburt.
It's
Eine
marking
Aktion.
this point where they're filled with the Spirit, right?
Markierte den Punkt, wo sie mit dem Geist erfüllt worden sind.
And at the same point, they're given the land, right?
Zum selben Zeitpunkt wird ihnen auch das Land gegeben.
Verse 18.
Vers 18.
And in the same day, what's the same day?
Am selben Tag, was ist derselbe Tag?
The same day you come out of Egypt and are filled with the Spirit, right?
Derselbe Tag, wo du aus Ägypten kommst und mit dem Geist erfüllt wirst.
The Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. The Kenites, the Kenizzites, the Cadmonites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Rephaims, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Girgashites, the Jebusites. 10, right? So,
Nation.
when you're filled with the Spirit, you become the ruler over the kingdom, right?
Wenn du mit dem Geist erfüllt wirst, dann wirst du der Herrscher über das Königreich.
Now, just go back to Daniel.
Gehen wir jetzt zurück zu Daniel.
I have another small thought to add to this.
So einen kleinen Gedanken, den ich zufügen möchte.
In Daniel 6 verse 3. it
Daniel
says
6, Vers 3 sagt es.
he thought to set him over the whole realm. And what is the whole realm? It's the kingdom, not?
Also er hat danach getrachtet oder gedacht, ihn über das ganze Reich zu setzen.
And in verse 4 then,
Vers
the
4 sagt es dann.
princes, they sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom. So this is the realm he's just gotten to rule over.
Yes, yes.
Und Vers 4 dann geht es ja um das Königreich, worüber er herrschen wird.
So they could find no occasion or fault, right, to topple him from that position, right?
Isn't it that they want to prevent this from coming to pass?
Give me a thus saith the Lord for that, right? Let's just put this argument away, right? It's prophetic, right?
I mean, that's the point I'm making. So if we
No, it's
just-
not the point that you're making.
No, it's the point I'm making.
So you would be saying then that when you get here, you don't inherit the land.
Of course, but we're not talking
No,
about
well, that's what's happening
the
then.
argument that we're making that is that the silver standard of. And he,
Look.
when with the with
So
the-
okay, let's make this. When you get here, you don't inherit the land.
of course, but it's an
Okay,
earnest.
then so yes,
It's an earnest.
doesn't matter, right? You're inheriting the land there.
No, I think the point that we're making, right, is that when you come there, right, there's an earnest for what you will get at the end.
Look, different argument. Got no problem with that. This is a type for this, and this is a type for this, right?
Yes, and
Punkt
And
ist,
even
dass
this is a
letztendlich,
type for
was
after the 1,000
was wir im
years. Right?
zivilen Sonntagsgesetz bekommen, das ist ja, wir erhalten das Land, aber es ist nur eine Anzahlung von dem, was wir dort bekommen. Aber damit hat man kein Problem. Denn das Prinzip ist ja auch, das ist auch wiederum nur eine Anzahlung für das, was wir da bekommen und das wiederum für das, was wir da bekommen.
Exactly. And now every word needs to have its proper bearing.
Yeah,
Why
but-
did the Lord wrote thought to?
Fyodor,
Also jetzt
I'm
muss
not
das
going into
jedes
this argument.
Wort
It's,
seine
a
passende
not, it's
Bedeutung
not a
haben.
valid argument for you making. You're just making an argument now because you don't want to.
Also
No,
da steht,
what
dass er gedachte, das zu tun.
and what I want, right, is that every word, like Mira's rule says, will
That's
apply.
not what it means, Fyodor.
Of course not.
Every word has its proper bearing, right? So what it means is you can't take a word out of there, right? So okay, so you have to take the whole thing by context and let the Bible explain itself, right?
Jedes Wort muss die passende Bedeutung haben,
Okay.
muss also letztendlich die Bibel das dann erklären lassen.
So when you're filled with the Spirit, you also inherit the land. That's the principle,
Wenn
right?
du mit dem Geist erfüllt wirst, dann erbst du auch das Land, das ist das Prinzip.
And Daniel is first in the whole kingdom, therefore he's in charge of the whole kingdom.
Und Daniel als
Right.
Erster im Königreich ist er in sozusagen Verantwortung des ganzen Reiches.
Now, just hold on 1 second. Go to Genesis 41.
Gehen wir zu 1. Mose 41.
You make these points and
Ju-
nobody's
just-
arguing,
just wait, just
but
go
you
to-
deny this one point.
Wait a minute. Go to, I'm not denying anything. Genesis.
Keiner argumentiert gegen diese Punkte, die du jetzt hier machen willst, sondern es geht um diesen Punkt mit Gedenken.
Das steht doch auch hier in dem Zitat von Schwester White, dass der Herrscher begann sofort mit der Reorganisierung. Also er hat sofort die anderen eingesetzt.
That's not the
Sagt Schwester
argument.
White. Das ist nicht das Argument.
No.
So this is why it says that he immediately started with a reorganization, but that's not the argument. Das ist nicht das Argument.
Dann
Okay,
habe ich es nicht
just,
verstanden.
it doesn't matter. Go to Genesis 41.
Gehen wir zu 1. Mose 41.
Verse 43.
1. Mose 41, Vers 43.
Okay, we'll just end this argument right there.
Wir
Right?
können das Argument dann hier beenden.
And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had, and he cried before and bowed the knee, and he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. Now, where is this prophetically?
Und wo ist das prophetisch gesehen?
At here, right?
Finalen Untersuchung.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not finished, it's still a type, right?
Noch nicht vervollständigt,
Because
ist auch
the-
immer noch ein Typ.
What's beginning right here?
Was fängt hier an?
What's beginning at this point?
Was fängt hier an?
No, the 7 years.
Die 7 Jahre.
Oh, so I think it's right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right. So you're not the ruler over all the land of Egypt in the perfect fulfillment, because it's Genesis 15 is talking about when Abraham inherits the land. Right.
Du bist nicht der Herrscher über das ganze Reich im perfekten Sinne. Denn
Inherits the world, should I say?
wenn Abraham die Welt erbt, das ist ja letztendlich die Erfüllung.
Okay, and that's after the 1,000 years.
Und das ist nach den 1000 Jahren.
Right. So the point that I'm making is when you get to the end here, you have that type fulfilled exactly the same as that type fulfilled there, exactly the same as the type is fulfilled there.
Also wenn du hier ans Ende kommst, hast du jeweils den Typus jeweils auf dieselbe Art und Weise erfüllt an diesen Enden jeweils.
Because this is the land rest. This is the land rest, and this is the land rest.
Und das ist die Landruhe, Landruhe, Landruhe.
So makes no difference, right?
Macht keinen Unterschied.
So the point is, where do we take Daniel 6? Do we begin it here, or do we begin it here?
Fangen wir es hier an oder dort an? I mean, just the point is, right? It's always you must go first through the test and then you exalt it, right? So in Daniel 6, he thought to put him,
It's still only
and then
a,
after he's
Look.
passed the lines, then he gets exalted. Like
it's
three
still only a type. Look, when you take it from here, right? You go through all this. It's parallel in here only midnight. It's still not the complete fulfillment until you get here.
yes,
Right.
nobody denies this.
Okay, so we're not taking a word to try and rearrange the whole prophetic structure.
Why do you say rearrange it?
Because you're trying to make something future which is actually taking place right there.
No, what I'm saying, right, is that this one word which may make a big difference.
Doesn't mean what you're saying it means. He says, okay, he's got the excellent spirit, I'm making him ruler over the kingdom.
The thing is, right?
He thinks about it,
Yes,
okay?
he
But
thinks about
doesn't say, I'm thinking about doing it in the future. It doesn't say that.
No, he wants to do it. That's
And he does it.
But the question is when exactly he does it. And when does the prophetic narrative tell you?
Tells
when
you
he's
he
gonna
does
do
it right there. The prophetic narrative, I took you to Genesis, right? When you're filled with the Spirit, you inherit the land.
Right.
That's the prophetic. So right there, he's made ruler over the whole
And
kingdom.
The prophetic narrative says, right, that in Genesis 41, that he came first out of prison, gave the prediction, and then he was made ruler. So the question is,
Okay then,
the
so
only-
Daniel 6 then.
the only point that we want to consider is not even that, I believe, at least from my side, I don't want to speak for himself, but that we're going to push that thing now and say it's only a silver standard. The point that we make,
No, I'm not
or
pushing.
I'm making, is that when it speaks about the prophetic narrative, right, it's after your test that you're being given this, correct?
Okay, wait a minute, stop. You're using words like pushed it. I'm not pushing it, I'm
But
told,
I never said you pushed, I said I'm not pushing, so if we can just put this at least first. So the question is, right, that if the prophetic narrative says it's after your test that you've been exalted. So when it says here, he thought to exalt him, okay, right, in the prophetic narrative, when are you being exalted?
okay then,
After the test.
okay, so where do we put Daniel 6 then? Has to be beginning here, right?
Also,
That's
Why?
the point. Because he's inheriting the land there. It's so clear and easy to see.
But that's the point of which thing, it's after the test.
No,
of the prophetic
Fyodor,
narrative.
no. He's still got a test to go through right here.
also es ist nach dem Test, wo du letztendlich erhöht wirst, aber er hatte immer noch dann einen Test
Yeah,
durchzugehen.
so the
Me-
point I'm making is that this inheritance at the beginning is in earnest and he thinks to exalt you even more.
Also
Look.
der Punkt, den wir machen wollen, ist, dass am Anfang,
That's
was er erhält, ist eine Anzahlung und wenn er den Test besteht, dann wird er noch mehr erhöht
Look.
am Ende.
Ich verstehe.
What you're doing wrong, right, is you're taking a story and you're trying to add other prophetic thoughts to it. It's not written in this story, right? Wait a minute, let me finish. I'm not arguing the point on the bigger picture, right? But this is not what we're dealing. We're just dealing with Daniel 6 and everything that's pertaining to Daniel 6, right? So let's leave. Let's
do this also.
no. Wait a minute. Let's leave the rest of the prophetic narrative out of it and just deal with what's been allocated here, right?
Also Marc stimmt damit überein mit dem Konzept, aber er meint jetzt, wenn wir Daniel 6 uns nur betrachten, dann ja, ist das irgendwie nicht, aber ich weiß nicht, also can you repeat Daniel 6?
Okay. Let's
Daniel
just.
6, the concept does not apply. Oh, what?
I didn't use those words. I'm saying just let's deal with what Daniel 6 is marking and forget the rest of the prophetic narrative. Can't say that Darius.
But since when can we study like this? That's the question.
No, that's exactly how we study.
Was
When ne- when ne-
everything
you-
line upon line, let the Bible explain. So,
Lawrence, look.
It's not what he's arguing.
No, it's not what I'm arguing about, right? It's clear you're not listening to what I'm saying. I'm saying to you, Daniel chapter 6, you have to take Daniel 6, what is written there, and place it on the line. You're not now placing Daniel 6 on the line and taking other stories and thinking, well, Darius here is thinking about this final review down here, because it's not saying that, right? You're just dealing with what Daniel chapter
how
6.
can you place a story independent from other stories? That's not possible.
You
What-
yourself
what-
did this the whole weekend, you said we going by the structure, so that's why I placed this chapter, and that's why I placed this chapter, by the structure. Without the structure, you wouldn't have.
Listen, I'm not arguing this point about the structure. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm saying that you're taking Darius, this word thought, and he's saying he thought to set him over, and you're taking another story in the future and you're saying that's where he thinks to put him there, right? And
So study the word, bringing other things together.
come on, it's just, it's just ludicrous what you're saying.
In verse 3 he's just thinking of it, then when is he doing it? There must be
Yes,
written a few lines later or so
Look,
that he's doing it.
the question is, right, that he it uses the word thought, and the Bible is very specific. Every little detail matters, and if you just jump over these things, he doesn't think it at the moment.
Doesn't
so
tell him.
he's already doing it right now. So then we just get rid of the word thought
Future.
and just put
Yeah,
our
you
own
could
thoughts on
you
it.
could use the word thought in the future. You could also use the word thought in the
In the-
Vergangenheit. He
yes.
thought. That means he thought yesterday, or he thinks to do. But in the very first paragraph of Prophets and Kings that we read, Daniel in the lion's den, it explains what that means. It's really clear. Darius the Median took the throne formerly occupied by the Babylonian rulers. He at once proceeded to reorganize the government.
I know what it
All
says.
right then, but let me make my point. He set over the kingdom 120 princes, and over these presidents, of whom Daniel was the first. So that's something that he's done,
Yes.
right there. That the princes might have accounts to give them, the kings could have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes because an excellent spirit was in him, semicolon, and the king thought to set him over the whole realm.
Yes.
So
So that's what he's done. It's
That's
just
what
telling
he's-
you what he's done.
that's what he's done. There is no higher position than the highest position that he's just given him. There is no more
Yes,
realm to set him over.
yes.
No, the way
The,
how I
only,
was
the only way that you could interpret that is Darius is thinking to step down from the throne and give Daniel the throne. That's the only way that you could see that.
The way how I was reading this is this, because an excellent spirit was found in him, right? And when he was set over these 120 princes,
No,
then
he
thought
set
to
over
exalt
this.
him.
He set over the 120 princes because an excellent spirit was in him.
Yes.
Right? That's what it's. That's the whole point I'm making.
But it says in verse 3, and this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes.
Yes, above the
so
president.
he was already over them.
Yes,
And
no, he
because
was.
an excellent spirit was found
Yeah,
in
that-
him when he was set over these.
No, no, not
Brenda.
when he was set over them. That's why he was set over them.
Because
He's set over them because there's an excellent spirit in him. That's the whole point of that is being made here.
Und
Right?
es müsste doch auch am Ende dann stehen, nach seinem Test,
Ja,
so jetzt wird er über alle gesetzt.
Can't be.
Aber das steht da
Show you
nicht.
why. Because in verse 2 it says, and over these three presidents, of whom Daniel was first, so he was already set over them, that the princes might give account unto them, and the king should have no damage. Then,
No, that's not
No,
then. That's not.
this Daniel was
Then
You're
prepared
just
Then
above-
reading that how you
because-
want to read it.
Then means because there. Then doesn't mean future.
Yes.
Why you say because?
Because that's how it's applied in this verse. Then
Then
this Daniel. Because this Daniel.
Look, this argument is really just such a silly argument, right? The point is, the only argument that I would make in regard to this, right, is that Daniel is going through this lion's den test, right? And the question I would ask is, right, say for instance, right, let's take, this is the church, right?
Also lass uns annehmen, dass das jetzt hier der Test für die Gemeinde ist.
And this is the world, right?
Und das ist für die Welt.
So the question I would ask is this an illustration of Daniel's personal test, or is it an illustration of a test that somebody goes through again?
Also ist das jetzt eine Darstellung von Daniels persönlichem Test oder ist es eine Darstellung von einem Test, den man nochmal durchleben muss?
Right. So that's the question I would ask, right? And I personally think that it's his personal test, right?
Ich persönlich denke, dass es sein persönlicher Test ist.
Because once you've gone through your testing, yes, you're going to go through all of this, but it's not your personal test where you're being delivered. You've already been delivered, right?
Und sobald du ja durch deinen Test hier gegangen bist und du hier befreit worden bist, dann gehst du zwar auch noch durch diese ganzen Dinge hindurch, aber es ist nicht mehr so dein persönlicher Test, denn du bist ja schon befreit worden.
Okay, so I believe, right, that every one of these times of peace, you're going to get this thing given to you in type. That's what it's teaching, right?
Ich glaube, dass jedes Mal, wenn du durch diese Zeit des Friedens gehst, kriegst du diese Dinge in Typos. Und das ist ja, was es lehrt.
Okay, so question, right? Between this time and this time, what needs to be set up?
Zwischen dieser Zeit und dieser Zeit, was muss bis hier aufgebaut werden, aufgerichtet werden?
Schools.
No. Okay. Right. So
Schulen und Sanatorien und all solche Sachen.
So.
schools, sanatoriums. What else? Health institute. Well, that's
Restaurants.
Okay.
Restaurants und all solche Sachen.
The point is, right? In order to do that, what needs to be given to you?
Und damit wir das tun können, was muss uns gegeben werden?
Yes, wisdom, right? The land, right?
Weisheit und natürlich aber auch das Land.
But okay, now I'll help us to see. Go to just. We'll close on this point. Go to Deuteronomy chapter
Dann
4.
mit dem Punkt abschließen. Gehen wir zu 5. Mose Kapitel 4.
Now, don't know where actually I could maybe it's right at the beginning. Okay, just let's begin in verse 1.
Das muss in 5. Mose 4, Vers 1 an.
It says, Now therefore, hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and the judgments which I teach you, for to do them that ye may live, and go in and possess the land which the Lord God your fathers giveth you. So, where is Moses?
Wo befindet sich Moses hier?
Where is he even historically and physically?
Wo ist er historisch gesehen, physisch gesprochen? Just before they enter the land.
They're right on they're right on the border of going into the land, right?
Direkt an der Grenze zum herrlichen Land.
And Moses is reminding them about the law that they were given and all the rest of it, and he's basically telling them, when you go into this land, you're not to forget all this experience that you've gone through, right?
Mose erinnert sie an das ganze Gesetz und erinnert sie, dass wenn ihr in das Land kommt, dann vergesst ja nicht die ganze Erfahrung, durch die ihr bisher gegangen seid, bevor ihr ins Land kamt.
So they've just been in the wilderness for 40 years,
Sie
right?
waren ja für 40 Jahre zuvor in der Wüste gewesen.
And they settled with 2 million of them, and only Moses dies right after this, right? So there's only 2 of them left from the original 2 million, right?
Und da sind jetzt hier nur diese 2 übrig von den ursprünglich 2 Millionen, die alle in der Wüste gestorben sind.
Okay, and they're just about to go into the land, right?
Sie sind kurz davor, ins Land zu kommen.
And what's he warning them about?
Und worüber warnt er sie?
Don't forget your past experience, right?
Vergiss nicht deine vergangene Erfahrung.
Right, now just jump forward to Deuteronomy 28.
Lass uns vorwärts gehen zu 5. Mose 28.
Because when he's on the border of the land there, he takes them through the whole book of Deuteronomy, right?
Er führt sie durch das ganze Buch von 5. Mose, als sie da an der Grenze zum Land sind.
So Deuteronomy is telling them about all the blessings that if they do them, they'll be blessed, right?
Und 5. Mose 28 spricht über die ganzen Segnungen, die, wenn sie Gottes Gebote halten, erhalten werden.
Right. I'm just looking for where it says it, right? It says something about it in the latter days, and maybe somebody can remember where that is, right? Because he basically tells them exactly what's going to come upon them.
Maybe you mean chapter 31 verse 29.
31, 29. Maybe you're right. Ah, yes, thank you. Lots, right? So, basically, chapter 28 and 29 is all about the blessings and the cursings when they go into the land, right?
Kapitel 28, 29 spricht über die Segen und Flüche, wenn sie ins Land kommen. Jetzt sind wir in 5. Mose 31, Vers 29.
So when you go to Deuteronomy 31 or 29, he just
Mose 31.
Ja.
Ist doch
Ja.
gut.
31, Vers 29.
because he says here, "For I know that after my death ye will utterly corrupt yourselves and turn aside from the way which I have commanded you, and evil will befall you in the latter days, because you will do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger through the work of your hands. Right? And what does he do?
Was macht er?
He tells them what he does in Deuteronomy 28. He's going to bring a nation against them from afar. Right?
Er sagt, dass er diese Nation aus der Ferne gegen sie bringen würde, deswegen.
Okay? And right, so just go back to Deuteronomy 28,
Zurück zu 5. Mose 28,
verse 47.
Vers 47.
It says, because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favour to the young. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed. Right? So,
Bis Vers 51.
and it's talking about the destruction of Jerusalem. It's talking about Rome. When they,
Spricht hier über die Zerstörung Jerusalems, über Rom.
so they would end up coming into bondage again under the Roman yoke, right? Because they didn't obey the commandments, right?
Dann wieder in die Knechtschaft unter das römische Joch kommen, weil sie nicht die Gebote befolgt haben.
So the point I'm making is that in order for the Sunday law to come upon you, what must you have before it?
Damit das Sonntagsgesetz über dich kommen kann, was muss vorher passiert sein?
Where were they going into?
Wo sind sie zuvor eingekehrt?
The land, right?
Sie sind ins Land gegangen.
It's the fulfillment of the promise given to Abraham,
Die
right?
Erfüllung der Verheißung, die dem Abraham gegeben wurde.
So what I'm saying is the civil Sunday law right here, you receive a portion of the Spirit, right?
Deswegen am zivilen Sonntagsgesetz wirst du also einen Teil des Geistes bekommen.
You inherit the land.
Du erbst das Land.
That's the fulfillment of these things, right?
Das ist die Erfüllung dieser Dinge.
And it's given to you so you can set up schools and sanatoriums and all these other things. But what does Moses say is going to happen?
Das wird dir gegeben, damit du die Schulen und die Sanatorien und so weiter aufbauen kannst. Aber was sagt Mose, was wird passieren?
You're going to forget the Lord and he's going to bring you into captivity, right?
Du wirst den Herrn vergessen und er wird dich wieder in Gefangenschaft führen.
And that will be the time where you glorify God by going through the test, right?
Und das ist, wo du den Herrn verherrlichen kannst, indem du treu durch den Test gehst.
And then the same thing happens again, right? Now go into the land.
Dann passiert wieder dasselbe, gehst wieder ins Land,
Okay, so
es wiederholt sich alles.
it's just showing you the same pattern over again,
Es
right?
zeigt immer und immer wieder dasselbe Muster.
So for me, Daniel chapter 6, I would have to suggest that it's representing Daniel's personal test, right?
Deswegen, ich würde vorschlagen, Daniel 6 stellt seinen persönlichen Test dar.
So therefore, this would be his personal test,
Deswegen, das erste Sonntagsgesetz wäre sein persönlicher Test.
and it's just being prefigured by this here where he receives the Spirit and enters into the land, right?
Das ist nur vorausgeschaltet hier, wo er den Geist bekommt und in das Land eintritt.
Okay, and it's all typifying the perfect fulfillment at the end,
Und
right?
das schattet alles die perfekte Erfüllung am Ende voraus.
Okay, anyway, we've run out of time, right?
Aber wie dem auch sei, wir sind jetzt über der Zeit.
Okay, but just in spite of the disagreements, the point is it's important to be able to determine which one of those chapters or where those chapters fit into this scenario, right?
Also jetzt auch ganz gleich, dass wir hier und da kleine Unstimmigkeiten hatten. Es ist wichtig, dass wir verstehen, wo jeweils die verschiedenen Kapitel hier reinpassen.
Right?
Richtig?
So once we do that, then it will help us to have a clearer picture of what everything's pertaining to.
So, sobald wir das tun, dann haben wir ein klares Bild über das, was letztendlich dargestellt wird.
Okay, anyway, let's close.
Lass mal uns mit Gebet abschließen.
Dear Heavenly Father,
Lieber himmlischer Vater,
we thank you for this day.
ich danke dir für den Tag.
We thank you for the word that you've brought to us.
Ich danke dir für das Wort, was du an uns herangebracht hast.
We thank you for agitating these questions about the book of Daniel.
Ich danke, dass du diese Fragen aufgebracht hast über das Buch Daniel.
And we ask and pray that you would help each of us to set these things right in our minds,
Ich bitte, dass du jedem Einzelnen von uns hilfst, diese Dinge richtig in unserem Verstand zu platzieren
so that we would be able to give an account for our faith and not be ashamed.
und dass wir nämlich eine Rechenschaft ablegen können für unseren Glauben und nicht beschämt sein müssen.
We ask and pray as we go about our day now that you would help us to dwell upon these things,
Wir bitten und beten, dass wenn wir jetzt unseren Tag begehen, dass wir über diese Dinge nachdenken
and that you would help for each of us to bring to our own understanding as to why we're marking these things where we mark.
und dass du uns hilfst, für uns selbst zu verstehen, warum wir die Dinge dort markieren, wo wir sie markieren.
So we ask for your blessing.
Wir bitten um deinen Segen
We ask that you would continue through this day to pour the oil into our lives,
und wir bitten, dass du fortwährst, über den Tag dein Öl in unsere Lampen zu gießen.
and that you would help us to dwell upon the third angel's message.
Und dass du uns hilfst, über die dritte Engelsbotschaft nachzudenken.
Thank you for this in Jesus' name.
Wir danken dir dafür in Jesu Namen.
Amen.
Amen.